Hi guys, my name is Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about the passive voice, sometimes called the passive tense, even though it's not technically a tense. But we'll talk about that. Elle, welcome to class.
Yeah, thank you.
It's nice to meet you, Elle. Where are you from?
Actually, I'm from Thailand, but right now I'm living in USA. I'm living in USA.
Very cool. Where in the USA?
West Virginia.
Ooh,
But,
so south, but way east.
Yeah, the weather over here is so warm. I like it.
Awesome. Are you enjoying the summer?
Yes, but where you live is warm as well, right?
It's also warm, but not nearly as humid. I've heard West Virginia can be very humid because it's close to the coast.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's probably similarly hot here in Arizona, but really dry, of course, because it's a desert. So it's like sand as far as the eye can see, and mountains, of course, but no water, or not much water.
Yeah, I know that. Okay. Thank you.
All right, good to meet you, Al. Carolina, welcome back. You said you're from Colombia, right?
Yes, I am from Colombia.
How's your summer going in Colombia? Or no, it's winter for you, huh? So how's your winter going?
We don't have a season in Colombia, but we have the weather is all the weather in all year is the same. But now, for example, if we have a great sun, maybe
a gray sun?
Sun, yeah.
Like there's clouds?
No. It's like a summer day. I know, outside.
Ah, great sun. I see. I got it.
Yeah. Maybe 19 degrees. But I think at night it could be cold.
Got it. Ooh, very cool. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about your weather, Catalina. And Julio, welcome to class.
Thank you very much.
Julio, what season is it for you? Where are you?
Oh, of course, summer. I am from Madrid, and it's very hot these days here.
Is it humid?
Not so much. 30%. No,
Well, that's kind of a lot.
it's quite dry. It's quite dry, but it's hot.
I think 30% sounds like a lot, but I guess the standard is different because Spain has got so much coast.
Yeah.
So you're enjoying the summer?
Yes, I'm enjoying the summer.
Awesome. It's good to have you with us.
I am not in holidays yet.
When do you go into holidays?
Next month, in August.
Ah, and how long do you get?
1 month, more or less.
Oh, that's not very much.
Yes, too much. I think so.
All right. Well, good to meet you, Julio.
Thank you.
Next up, I am going to mispronounce it, and I'm sorry. It's Ksenia?
Yes, you're right. Hello.
Hi, Ksenia. Where are you from?
I'm from Russia.
Awesome. And how's your summer going right now?
It's awful, honestly, because we have rainy days. So it's all day raining.
So not very warm, kind of cold?
Nowadays it's about only 15 degrees.
Yeah, it's not very warm. Not warm enough to swim anyways. So what are you doing with your summer? I said it's not warm enough to swim.
I don't swim in our rivers because it's very dirty.
Got it. So what do you do during the summer? What are your plans?
Nothing special, maybe some trip to Europe or something like that.
That's nice. That sounds good.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's good to meet you, Ksenia.
Good to meet you too.
Philip, welcome back.
Thank you, teacher.
So, Philip, tell me, what do you like to do with your summers, and how's the weather?
Yes, I enjoy walking in the city and going to movie theater.
Movie theaters?
Yes.
That's a fun summer activity.
Yes.
So it could be a winter activity too. Movies could be all year.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
And Rafael, welcome to class. It's good to see you again. It has been a long time, a really long time.
A long time, teacher. I don't even know when that was your last class here in Verbally.
Yeah, I think it had to have been. I haven't been doing very many classes, so I think my last open class was probably like November or something like that. It's been a long time, and I'm sorry. I'm really glad to be back. So how's your winter going, Rafael?
My winter, it's been a normal winter, nothing special, because I'm not on vacation and I'm not doing nothing special, just basic working and enjoying the weekends when I have
So
free time.
how do things change during the summer and winter? Like, are there any activities that you do during the summer or winter that you don't do during the other season?
Uh,
Do
well,
you
actually,
like
I hate.
warm food or anything?
Actually, winter is my favorite season of the year because, as you might know, the summers here are really hot and really
Yep.
awful. And I love I love the winter, although I don't like to use so much clothes, and I don't like to use jackets and this type of clothes. Just normal clothes, The type of clothing keeps me warm, just enough to get by.
Has it been getting cold enough to merit a jacket?
Not lately. Last month it was colder, but this month it's getting okay. It's not. It's the temperatures are milder, but it's at least this week it's getting hotter again.
All right. Well, the winter is short-lived, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And Mohammed, welcome to class.
Thank you, thank you.
Mohammed, how is your summer going? Summer, right?
Yes, it is summer. Now, actually, we have Ramadan. It's almost it's finishing. So during the day we are at home. At the night, our life it's usually socializing. The summer is extremely hot. Here in Kuwait, we have the highest temperature on the entire earth. So it's okay, almost okay. No activities during the whole day. There is no activities in Kuwait. The atmosphere is extremely hot. We can't enjoy anything. Only indoors activities.
So during Ramadan, you can't drink water during the day, right?
Water, food. No water, no food. Yeah.
That sounds like a difficult but maybe rewarding activity. I've heard it's rewarding, though I've never tried it myself. Sounds hard.
Yeah,
Sounds hard.
yeah, it's so hard, but once you used to it, it will become not easy, but it is okay, not that hard. But there is some countries where is the daytime is longer than others, so it become harder.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So it's almost over?
Yes, only 4 days left.
I bet it'll feel nice to have some food during the day.
Yeah, sure.
Is there like any kind of celebration that ends Ramadan, or does it just end?
No, there is Eid. Yeah, during the Eid, people are usually celebrate by gathering and have a lunch with extremely high calories and high fat and high carbs. So they are celebrating.
Awesome. Well, I wish you a very nice celebration then.
Thank you, thank you.
So let's get started. We're talking about the passive voice today, and the document is on the page where you opened class. It should be right under where you have like the screen. You've got the join class and then the screen, and then underneath that you'll see a description and a little blue link where you can find this document if you don't already have it. Otherwise, you can share along with me. And I'm going to screen share. So before we start to talk about how we make passive, we're going to talk about why we make passive. Let's start with Carolina. Do you have any idea why we use the passive tense? Or, sorry, not tense, voice.
I think that we use passive sentence is because we have to found another way to say things that we don't know who is who did the action.
That's one really good reason. So if we don't know who it was, maybe it's like a mystery or we're trying to find who it was that did this thing. Totally. Elle, is there any other reason we might use the passive voice?
I don't know.
No problem. We're going to find out.
Okay.
All right. Julio, can you think of any other reasons why we might use the passive tense voice? Julio, are you there? You're muted. I can't hear you. All right, Julio, let me know in the chat box if you're having any technical difficulties. Otherwise, I'll ask Ksenia. Do you know why, any other reasons why we might use the passive tense voice?
Usually in sentences we have subject and object. And when we want the object to impress some action, so we use the passive voice.
Yeah. So I'm going to restate the two that we've come up with so far. Sometimes if we don't know the actor, we're going to use the passive. And then other times, like Ksenia said, if we want to emphasize the object, like maybe the actor is not really that important, we want to put it at the end of the sentence. So we want to switch the importance to the object, and that's another good reason to use passive. Mohammed, any other reasons you can think of to use the passive voice?
Yes, once the actor is not important as the object, or the actor is not here, not at the sentence.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Mohammed. Philip, any other reasons you can add about why we use the passive voice? Philip, are you there? You're muted. Can't hear you.
Yes, I said I had the same answer as.
Okay. All right. Both really good reasons. Thanks, Philip. Rafael, anything else you can contribute about reasons why we use the passive voice?
When you don't want to use the active.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you want to use the active?
When it's not important. No, I don't know if it's not important when the situation doesn't require to use the active voice, when it's not since we explained when the object is more important than the subject.
Yes, definitely. All right. Cool. So those are the most important reasons why we use the passive voice, but I'm going to give you guys a couple other ideas about stylistically why we might use the passive voice instead of the active voice. So number one, of course, is we don't know who did the action, right? Maybe it's a cave painting. We don't know who's responsible for it. Number two, because the actor is irrelevant, we're trying to emphasize something else. Another good reason, though, is if you want to be vague. If you know who it is that did the action, but you don't want to say, maybe it's embarrassing. So maybe like you don't want to admit that you made a mistake, and you might just say, oh, mistakes were made, right? Like you don't want to take responsibility, so you're just going to leave off who made the mistake and pretend like that's not important. And you'll see politicians use that a lot. They kind of, instead of taking responsibility, they say, like, mistakes were made or this thing happened, instead of using the active voice. Another reason is if you're talking about the general truth, you don't really have or need one, like rules are made to be broken. That's a good example of the passive. We don't really have an actor there because it's whoever, wherever. Yeah, so those are all the ones that I can think of. And those are a lot of good reasons to know how to use the passive voice. So let's get into looking at the actual form of the passive. We're going to scroll down in our document a little bit. This is going to be a really good tense review. So, simple present tense in the passive voice, we're going to use is and are. And anytime, I think Elle was telling us about this before, anytime we use the passive, you're going to flip the object and the subject. You're going to flip them over. So the active voice is he bakes a cake, right? How can we change that to the passive voice? How about Philip? He bakes a cake. How can we change it?
I can change it by saying a cake was baked.
Okay, so that's a really good example of the passive, but it's in the simple past, not in the simple present.
A cake is baked.
Exactly, right. So, although it's using passive in the simple present is not a really common construction, it's good to know how to make all of the passive voice types. So we're going to use is and are. The cake is baked. And then if you want, you can add on by the man, by Philip, by the boy, whatever. If you want, you can add that on, but it's not necessary information. All right? What about if we're dealing with negatives like number 2? He does not sing a song. Mohammed, how would we turn that into the passive for the simple present?
Song is not sang, or song didn't. A song is not sang, or song is not. Yeah, I think song is not sang.
Yes, except you've got the participle a little mixed up. It should be sung. So a song is not sung. S-U-N-G. But the form was perfect. Thank you, Mohammed. And to answer your question, if we say who the actor was at the end by saying by, it is still a passive sentence. We're just attaching a prepositional phrase, basically. So the cake is baked by the boy is still passive, even though you include who did it and who's responsible. It's still a passive form because we're using the actual form, which is to say we're taking the verb to be and we're making the original verb a participle. The cake is baked. All right, and let's do a question before we go on to the next one. Does he fly a plane? How about Ksenia? How can we make that into the passive voice?
Is a plane flow?
Is a plane flown? And you could say by him or whatever. Thank you very much, Ksenia. So any questions before we go on to the next tense we're going to talk about? Great. If you guys do have questions, you can put them in the chat box. That way you don't forget them before we have a moment to answer them. So the next tense is, of course, the present continuous tense, also known as present progressive sometimes. And here is the active voice for these. We've got a positive, a negative, and a question just like last time. Let's start with Elle. Will you do the first one in the continuous tense? I am writing a letter. Make that passive if you can.
Okay. Make it past tense or make it past tense, right?
All you're going to do is change it to the passive voice, but continue it in the present continuous tense.
Continuous passive voice. A letter is writing by a letters is writing by
Before you finish, I want you to take a look up here at these little tips. These are the to be part of the thing, so it should be is being or are being or am being. Okay. You can choose.
A letter is being being written.
Yes, excellent. Thanks, Elle. Great job.
Thanks.
Carolina, can you do the next one that's negative?
Okay. I am not playing game, and the game is being played.
Where does the negative fit in? I didn't hear the negative word.
Is not being played.
Yeah, exactly. A game is not being played. Perfect. Thanks, Carolina. And question 1.
Is the homework being done by me or by myself?
Excellent. Thanks. All right. We'll go on to the next tense. Now you guys got it, I think. So the everything is all kind of weird right now because things didn't format very well, it looks like. Don't know why it's doing this. There we go. That's a little bit better. So now we have the active voice and the passive voice. I'm going to ask you guys to come up with your own sentences. And this one is in the simple past tense. We're going to use was or were. So I'm going to ask you to shout out a sentence. And let me have Mohammed give us a sentence. Try to make it simple. In the past, in the simple past tense, using the passive voice. And you can model it after the sentences you see here. A snake was killed by me. A snake was not killed by me. Model it after one of those.
I baked a cake. A cake was baked by me.
Perfect. Thanks, Mohammed. All right, Philip, can you give us a sentence in the negative simple past passive voice? So it's going to be the simple past in the passive voice, but you're going to make it negative, like our second example here. Something like this. Oops, that's not going to work. Like this one.
I did not eat the cheese. A cheese wasn't eaten by me.
Excellent. Yeah, those participles can be hard, but good correction. The cheese was not eaten by me. Okay, so I need one more example for this one. And this time, you're going to model it after this sentence. I'm going to ask Ksenia to do it, but Ksenia, I have more specific instructions for you. So this time, I want you to model it after the question, and I want it to be in the simple past and the passive voice, but I want it to be plural. So this time, don't use was, use were.
Were the book read by him?
Good, but did I hear you say
Books.
Yeah, there we go, exactly. Were the books read by him? Excellent. That was really well done. I know this is kind of a complicated exercise. You have a lot of specifications there, but good job. All right, let's go on to the next one. This is past continuous tense, and it's in the passive voice. So again, you've got these little tips up here. These are the way you're going to use the verb to be. And I'm going to make this a little better. Okay, so we've got examples for you. A car was being driven by him. A car was not being driven by him. Was a car being driven by him? So let's come up with a new example. And again, I want you guys to use this one. So we're going to make it plural, they or we or something like that. Make it plural. I want to make it a little harder for you guys. Elle, will you come up with a sentence in the past continuous, passive, plural?
Okay. Were computers broken by them?
Good, but there was no continuous element there. How can you make it continuous?
Okay. Well, computers were broken.
You're missing this word
here.
Okay.
Well, being broken.
Exactly. Yes. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. That was a question. So, Carolina, will you write a negative sentence? It's going to be negative, plural, passive, past continuous.
Negative, plural, past continuous. Okay. People were not being seen by the police.
Yes, awesome. Well done. I know that's a lot to do, but you did a great job. Perfect sentence. All right,
Okay.
let's go down to the present perfect tense, which is difficult in, the most ideal of cases, but we're making it passive as well. And I'll read our active and passive voice sentences. We have, she has finished her work becomes, her work has been finished by her. She has not finished her work. Her work has not been finished by her. She has finished her work, or has she finished her work? Has her work been finished by her? Okay, so this time we're going to switch up the exercise a little bit. I'm going to ask you guys to make a sentence in the present perfect and try to make it a little tricky. So maybe add on some prepositional phrases or some adverbs. Make it a tricky sentence in the present perfect tense and put it in the chat box. And then we're going to change them into passive voice sentences. So you're going to write a sentence in the chat box that is the present perfect tense. And as soon as we have a couple, we'll start making them into the passive voice. And don't make them easy. Don't make them softballs. Make them tough sentences. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to create your sentences. So Mohammed, looks like you just rejoined the class. I'm going to explain the exercise. We are writing present perfect tense sentences in the active voice in the chat box. And then once we all have some sentences in, we're going to start translating them into the passive voice. So all you need to do is come up with an active present perfect tense and write it in the chat box. Awesome. I love this sentence. I haven't seen this movie since my childhood. That's a wonderful active, present perfect, negative sentence. And I'm going to wait for one more sentence before we start translating them. I have cooked the meal. Excellent. So, Philip.
Yes, teacher.
I'm going to ask you to translate Ksenia's sentence. I'm going to copy paste it into the other chat box so that you can see it.
Yes.
So Philip, turn her sentence, this one here, I haven't seen this movie since my childhood, into a passive sentence. You think you can do it?
Yes, I'll do.
All right, go for it. All right, and Ksenia, will you translate Elle's sentence? So Elle wrote, I have not eaten, I'm going to say eaten, because there's a slight mistake there, breakfast every morning. I have not eaten breakfast every morning. So take that G off, eaten. So Ksenia, you're going to translate Elle's sentence, and Elle, you're going to translate Philip's sentence, which is in the other chat box. I'm going to copy paste it so you can see it. It's, I have cooked the meal. So that's what you're going to translate, Elle.
Oh, we should write it, yes?
Yeah, you can write it in the chat box whenever you're ready with your new sentence. And I see Rafael has a sentence ready. Has the detective measured all the footsteps? I like it. It's a question. And I think I'm still waiting on at least one more sentence. Ooh. Zip. Hawal. I don't know how to say her name, but it's a good sentence. So the meal has been cooked. Oh, the meal has been cooked by Philip. All right.
That's L. Triple one is my name, L.
Oh, got it. Okay. I was like, oh, someone took her sentence. Awesome. Okay. The meal has been cooked by Philip. Great. Well done, Elle. I see one from
Thank you.
Philip. Since my childhood, this movie haven't been seen. Awesome. There's only one tiny mistake, and that is that since we've changed the subject to the object, we have to say hasn't been seen. Since my childhood, this movie hasn't been seen. And of course, that's kind of a crazy off-the-wall sentence, not something you'd see in like the real world, but it's good to know how to make these sentences in case you ever need to. So thank you guys for creating the sentence and translating it. Mohammed, do you have a sentence ready for us in the present perfect so that we can switch? Are you there, Mohammed? All right, Mohammed, you're muted and I can't hear you. Rafael has a really good sentence, and he has no one to trade with right now. So I'm going to make up a sentence, and I'm going to trade with him. All right, Rafael, your sentence to translate is this one that I just put in the Verbling chat box. We have been fighting all day. Make that into a passive voice sentence. And in the meantime, I see that Ksenia has finished. The breakfast hasn't been eaten. Great. And then you can add on every morning if you want. Don't have to, but you can. And since I don't see Mohammed, or I don't hear him anymore, I'm not sure if he's still in class. Why doesn't someone do Rafael's sentence? Rafael's sentence was, has the detective measured all the footsteps? So whoever gets to that one first wins. I want someone to try it. It's a tricky one. He did a good job of making kind of a tricky sentence. And Rafael, did you figure out how to make my sentence into the passive?
It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one, isn't it? I didn't give you a softball. So what's your idea? What do you think it is? So first we have to...
Has the day... Because the day doesn't...
Oh, interesting. I don't have an object there. You're right, you're right. That's kind of an odd sentence. Let's make it a different one. We have been running the course all day. How about that one? That way we have an object. And in the meantime, we've got a good try at Rafael's sentence. Has the footsteps been measured? All the detective. Interesting. It's close. First of all, we need to change has to have because it's plural, right? Footsteps is more than one. Have the footsteps been measured? And all is part of the footsteps thing, so I would take all out from where it is and say, have all the footsteps been measured by the detectives or detective? So all you need to do is change to have, move all, and put by in before detective. Have all the footsteps measured by the detective. Yes, so just add by into that second sentence, and then you're good to go. Excellent, Elle. Thank you for doing that one for us. Bonus points for you. All right. Rafael, do you think you've got a good idea about the new sentence, the better sentence? Sorry, I didn't think the first one through very much, but the second one is good. Try it. Are you there, Rafael? Ah, there we go. Okay. The course had been run by ourselves all day. Excellent job, except you made it in the past perfect, didn't you? It's in the past perfect. Other than that, it's good. So if you change it to the course has been being run all day, that would be correct. The course has been being run. I know it's totally a crazy sentence, but there you have it. That's what it is. All right. Let's go on to the past perfect. Rafael got a jump on us over there. He already went down to the past perfect. We have some example sentences. They had completed the assignment. The assignment had been completed by them. They had not completed the assignment. The assignment had not been completed by them. And had they completed the assignment? Had the assignment been completed by them? So those are our examples. This time, we're going to do something similar to the last exercise, but slightly different. This time, I want you guys to give a passive sentence in the past perfect, and we're going to translate it back to the active. So it's going to be kind of the opposite of the last one. So you guys are going to make a past perfect passive sentence of any kind. Could be positive, could be negative, could be a question. And then we're going to, once you're all finished, we're going to translate it back into the active. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes to come up with your sentence, and then we will translate them. And if you have any questions in the meantime, let me know. We've got one already. Elle, you're fast. Just waiting on a couple more, and you guys can take your time. I hadn't understood any word the teacher had said. Ooh, interesting. We have a few tenses, or a few different tense phrases there. That's an active sentence, so that one will change into the passive. And the exams hadn't been, I assume that's a typo, not Beeb. The exams hadn't been passed by Kate before she moved to another country. And there's another passive, of course, there's just one O in moved, but that's okay. And I'm just waiting on one more. Philip, are you almost ready? And then we'll all switch.
Yes, teacher.
Let's see, is your sentence in the chat box?
Yes, you said, okay.
What now?
The exams hadn't been passed by Kate before she moved to another country.
So, do you have your own sentence, Philip? That was Ksenia's sentence.
Ah, okay.
Make your own sentence in the past perfect tense.
Okay.
And then we'll all switch, and you guys are going to translate it to the opposite. Yeah. So we'll get started. And Philip, go ahead and write your sentence.
Okay.
And put it in the chat box. Awesome. I had moved to a new house. Great. Thank you, Philip. So now that we all have a sentence, we're all going to swap. And Rafael, I see you switched yours. So originally you gave us an active sentence. Now you gave us a passive one. You did a really good job. And you kind of actually did your own, right? Like you changed it from the active to the passive. None of the new rules had been understood by the student. Well done. So since you already kind of did that one, I'll leave that one. That one's a gold star, Rafael. Philip, will you change L's sentence. So L's sentence is this car had been hit by the truck. I want you to put that back into the active and write it in the chat box for us. And L, will you do Ksenia's sentence, the exams? And Ksenia, you will do Philip's sentence.
Okay.
And Rafael will smile while we all work away because he's already finished.
Pass the ESAM exam. To move to another.
All right. Kat. Did it say Kat?
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, Kate. Got it.
Kate,
okay. Kate hadn't been passed the exams before she moved to another country. Let me look at that sentence again. Yeah, it's pretty close. So Kate hadn't passed. We don't need the word been here because it's not passive, so we can just kick that out.
Okay.
So Kate hadn't passed the exams before she moved to another country. Well done, Elle. Thank you.
Okay.
The new house had been moved to by me. Yeah, great. Yep, perfect. Thanks, Ksenia. And the truck had hit the car. Awesome, Philip. Thank you. Seems like you all got it. You guys don't have any questions yet, right? Anything you guys want to ask? Could be about anything.
I have a question.
Go ahead. What is it?
Is it a rule when we have a statement in the active voice in the present perfect, we have to we stick with the present perfect when we pass to the passive voice?
Yes. So, I mean, of course, now in a normal conversation, you're probably not going to have to translate these sentences. The point of us doing this is just so that you can see how to create them if you want to. So if you want to say something in the passive and you know how to say it in the active, then you have to translate it in your head before you say it, right? But we want to keep the tense the same because you can have the passive voice in any tense. It could be any other tense that already exists, meaning that it's kind of complicated because even though you think we only have so many tenses, once you decide, like once you can see that you can make active or passive of all of them, it almost doubles how many forms you have to work from and use. So that's why we're practicing by keeping the same tense, because it maintains the meaning of the sentence. Even though, you know, if you change the tense, the meaning will change a bit.
All situations.
Yeah, exactly. So if you, for instance, if you took this sentence and made it into the simple past or something, well, actually, you can't even do that with this sentence. But if you change the tense of the sentence, the meaning will change, which is why it's really important to make sure that we've maintained the tense we're using in both the active and the passive forms. And we get practice using all of the different tenses in the active and passive so you guys can see good examples of all of them. Make sense? Does that kind of answer your question, or did I miss the point?
No, because I was studying in other books and they explained that some situations we have to change to the when we switch to the passive voice, we have to change the time.
I believe what you're talking about is something else, actually. You're talking about reported speech, right? And reported speech is
yes,
when...
Yes, you got it.
Yes,
exactly.
That's a totally...
Confused.
That's a really... Yeah, it's difficult, but it's a totally different thing. So, yeah, you're right that sometimes when we're reporting something, we do have to change to a different tense. Totally. All
exactly.
right.
Thank you.
So, no problem. Let's do the future simple tense. We're going to take a step back. I think this one's actually a little bit easier than the last couple we've been doing. So we'll take a little breather from that hard stuff. And the examples are, she will buy a car will be bought by her. She will not buy a car will not be bought by her. Will she buy a car? Will a car be bought by her? All right. And this time, we're not going to do any switching. It's going to be a little easier. All I want you guys to do is make a future simple tense in the passive voice. And it can be a question, a negative, a positive. I'm going to ask you guys to read them this time. You don't have to write them in the chat box. So think for a second. I'll let you guys get creative. If you want to write them in the chat box, of course, you're welcome. And I'm going to start with Ksenia. Can you give me a future simple tense passive voice sentence?
The book won't be sold to him.
Awesome. Great example of a negative future simple passive tense. Thanks. Philip, you're up next. Give me an example.
Yes. A money will be given to me. Money
Awesome.
will be given to me.
Yeah, I like that sentence. The money will be given to me. Great. Rafael, do you have one for us?
Will all the tests being corrected by the teacher?
Yes, thank you. So now we have a good example of each of them. I like how you guys are getting creative and using different forms. Thank you, Rafael, for giving us that question form. Elle, you're last up. Give us your sentence.
Okay. A house will be built by the builder.
Great. Thank you very much. So, after that short breather, we're back to something that's kind of complicated. The future perfect tense, which is a tense that is not super common, but it is actually pretty useful, and it's the last tense we're going to talk about right now. And these are sentences like, you will have started the job, you will not have started the job, and will you have started the job? So this isn't one that is practiced very frequently, thank goodness, because perfect tense is kind of hard enough as it is without making it the passive and the active and talking about that. But here are some examples, and I'm going to ask you guys to model your sentences after this. The job will have been started by you. The job will not have been started by you. Will the job have been started by you? So, it's going to be like the last one. All I want is for you guys to make a passive voice sentence, and I want you to also provide the active voice. So this time, you're going to write both sentences, the active voice first, the passive voice second, and you got to be creative and come up with your own. And try to make it something that makes sense. That I know that's kind of hard, but don't make it something totally crazy, impossible, off the wall. Try to make it something that's practical, at least on the active side. Make it something that's like real. So go ahead, take a couple minutes. You're going to write both the active voice and the passive voice in the chat box for us. Great, we already have a couple ready. I'm going to read Elle's sentences. Her sentences are, an ice cream will have been made by my mother. That's the passive version, and it's excellent. And then her active version is, my mother will have made the ice cream. Thank you very much, Elle. That's a great job.
Thank you.
And Ksenia is ready. Anne will have will have lost the cat. The cat will have been lost by Anne. Thank you very much, Ksenia. Well done. Philip's sentence, well, I'll read Rafael's first because it looks like we're missing part of that. So, I'll have completed all the tasks by next dawn. All the tasks will have been completed by me at next dawn. Awesome. So you switched prepositions there, and actually both of them are okay. I would say by, I think, fits a little bit better, but you don't have to switch the prepositions. You could say by for both of them. And the very last one from Philip. Tomorrow I will have seen the director, and the director will have been seen by me tomorrow. Awesome. You guys totally have the hang of it. That was a tough one. 100% you guys got it all correct. I'm so proud. So let's answer a couple questions. We're just going to practice some of this question form again. You guys are going to randomly turn these sentences into questions. So this time we're looking at the statement form, and we're going to turn it into questions. A paper is made from wood. Is paper made from wood? B. Let's have L do this one.
Okay. What was the telephone invented by Mr. Bell?
Yes. So, like you guys can see, these are all already passive. You don't have to turn them into passive sentences. All you're going to do is rearrange them so that they make sense as questions. C. Ksenia, try it for us.
This picture was printed by Peter. Peter printed this picture.
So that's a good example of how we can change it to the active from the passive, but we're going to maintain the passive tense. All I want you to do is make it a question. So
Question in passive.
Yeah, question in the passive. It's right now a statement in the passive.
Was this picture printed by Peter?
Mm-hmm. Pretty simple, kind of deceptively simple. Thank you, Ksenia. D. Philip.
Yes, teacher. The thieves will be arrested by the police.
Mm-hmm. So how can we make that to a question?
Will the thieves be arrested by the police?
Excellent. Thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
And E. Rafael?
Do I have to answer in the active voice?
No, all you're going to do is make it into a question. So it's going to be passive.
Okay,
right now
okay.
it's passive statement, but we're going to make it a passive question.
Is champagne made in France?
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Back to L for F.
Will the letter be sent next week?
Yep. And Ksenia, G. Ksenia, are you there? Oops, nope, Ksenia's gone. All right, Philip, it's up to you. Help us out. Are you there, Philip?
Teacher,
Mm-hmm.
the animals are fed 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Are the animals fed 3 times a day?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And we just got one more, Rafael. Do this last one for us.
Was this article written by Stanley?
Yep. All right. So you have all tried an example of every tense in the active and the passive voice. You guys should be super proud of yourselves. I mean, partially because it's a lot to learn, but also because it's a really good review. You've got all the tenses down, and that's really cool. With a few more minutes left in class, let's just talk for a minute about how you guys feel. Rafael, do you feel confident in the passive tense? Do you use it? Will you use it now in the future?
Well, I have to use it. I'm a little bit confused right now because I try to differentiate. I have to split passive voice from recorded speech, so I have to work on this.
Yeah.
How,
Yes.
when I have to use both. So It's okay. It's nice.
All right.
I
Cool.
didn't understand one part, the champagne made in France.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. How can we put the question?
so let me look back at that one to make sure I'm answering your question right. So the statement is champagne is made in France.
Yes,
And that's a passive statement, right? Because it doesn't say who. We didn't say by
yes.
the French people or whatever. All you have to do is switch the verb in the subject. So, is champagne made in France?
Okay.
Champagne is made. Is champagne made? That's it.
Thank you, teacher.
No problem. Philip, are you going to go on to use passive in the future and kind of hide the subject?
I will do, teacher. I will do.
Awesome. Great. Al, how about you? Are you confident? You got any last questions? Are you going to use it in the future?
Normally, I don't use passive
Why not?
voice in conversation at all. But from now on, I might try it.
Good. You have one more option. Yeah, I think it could be really useful, and it's this really subtle difference. I think it brings your English up a level because it's no one native speakers don't go like, oh, that person's using passive. Like most native speakers don't even know what passive is, but they know how to use it. So it's like this really subtle way to be like, oh no, the milk was spilled. Like I didn't do it. It was spilled. So I think it's kind of a fun thing that you guys can use. And
We have to change my habit. I have to change my habit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it looks like Mohammed's back in class. Mohammed, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, technical problem.
No problem. It happens to all of us every once in a while. So, Mohammed, do you have any last questions or comments? And do you think you'll use passive more in the future now?
Yes, especially in writing essays for the IELTS test. Sometimes you need for emphasizing the subject. So passive tense will strengthen my essays.
Yes, totally. And passive is something you do see more in writing than you do in actual speech. It's kind of formal, so it's really great for writing. All right. Thank you guys all for being here and for participating with me and everything. I have one more class later in the day and several more tomorrow, but I had a lot of fun. Thanks. See you guys later.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.